Like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Analysis mystery in the sky raises fears about future US-China crises. On Monday, the United States had shot down 4 objects that were flying over its or Canada's airspace since February 4, when a Chinese surveillance balloon from an F-22 fighter jet crashed into the waters off the coast of South Carolina. The transit of the ballooning across the United States unleashed a domestic firestorm that likely influenced the Biden administration's decision to publicly announce the downing of 3 other high-altitude objects on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. There were few publicly released details about what these objects were, what they could, and who owned them. A U.S. military commander, briefing reporters over the weekend, even said he couldn't rule out the objects were extraterrestrial in nature. But the U.S. interventions were a result of military agencies relaxing parameters on their radars, giving more potential targets discovered entering U.S. and Canadian airspace. On Monday, China's foreign ministry claimed the United States had sent at least 10 unauthorized balloons into China's airspace since last year, a statement hot on the heels of U.S. public ire over China's alleged dispatching of dozens of surveillance balloons around the world. The United States should think about itself first and change course, instead of slandering, discrediting, or inciting confrontation, Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin told reporters. High-altitude balloon surveillance program, which the United States claims it violated the sovereignty of over 40 nations on 5 continents. Over the past week, State Department officials have shared information about these abuses with officials from dozens of other nations. Some analysts see the Biden administration as taking advantage of confusion in China's halls of power over how to handle the crisis, which, despite upward movement in Beijing's rhetoric, has left the country's leadership somewhat embarrassed. Now the United States can go to other countries and point to recent events as evidence of China's geopolitical audacity effectively to draw public attention as giant airships spy on U.S. military installations, wrote Richard Fontaine, the center's chief executive officer in New American Security. To learn that their own airspace may also have been violated by the Chinese government for years will probably stiffen their spines abroad as well. The Navy's F-3 reconnaissance aircraft over the southern island of Hainan showed how fragile the dynamic between the U.S. and China is now. It forced Foreign Minister Antony Blinken to cancel a key trip to Beijing and does not reliably call into question high-level diplomacy between the world's 2 largest economies in the near future. High-level calls at tense moments have gone unanswered in the recent past. Private suspicions aside, the 2 countries are sensitive to public opinion, with the Biden government in particular, which is being pursued by right-wing hawks, always ready to point out its seeming approval of Beijing. None of this bodes well in the event of a confrontation at another hotspot. In this context, it is hard to imagine how there could be room for de-escalation steps during a potential crisis over Taiwan, wrote David Sachs of the Council on Foreign Relations. Instead, it is much more likely that leaders in both Washington and Beijing will feel compelled to act quickly and take strong measures to protect themselves politically. Regardless of the depth of political tensions between the 2 countries, economic data points towards an entirely different state of reality.